these are the folders that I maintain on a daily basis and I work with in my Outlook. So I'm going to operate out of this undeliverable reports folder that I moved to the root of my inbox. That's got some messages in here that might not mean a lot, but I'll use that to actually demo everything here. Now, you'll notice one thing that I don't have is public folders. I mentioned earlier that, of course, you can still do public folders, but there are some other folders that are missing too. You don't see my contacts folder. You don't see my tasks folder. Now, I do have the icons for them down here. And this is one of the most common things that we hear when we get people to a new Outlook is, well, what happened to my contacts? Why'd you get rid of my tasks? They are all there, rest assured. You can show everything by clicking this folder list button. And that's how I usually operate in the folder list view. Now, the only thing about the folder list is it does get rid of the favorites folders on the top left of the screen. So it is going to be one of the two. So I'm going to operate out of the folder view for now. To get a little bit more screen real estate, you can always minimize the navigation pane. Click the double left arrow and it'll go off to the side. Again, just great for just having more room, especially if you don't have very large monitors or if you have several smaller monitors. To get the navigation pane back, a really neat feature, you can simply click on it. You'll see all your folders. It'll show you your folders in the exact size window it needs to. You can click on one of those folders. It'll take you to it and then automatically minimize again. So you don't have to constantly switch back and forth between views when you're changing folders. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to move my navigation pane back here. The middle, of course, we have our items, and on the right-hand side, this is the reading pane. It used to be called Preview Pane. It's been on it can go on the right-hand side or the bottom. It's a nice little shortcut to show what items have in them without having to double-click. We do recommend against using the reading pane or preview pane, though, and for one simple reason, is any item that you have in this reading pane, it's being opened by Outlook. Now, most cases, any kind of malicious content is going to be in a link or in an attachment in an email. But emails can have code embedded in them. If the security settings on your computer aren't perfect, it's possible some of that code could run. So just by clicking on an email and having it viewed here, you could be running stuff that's got a virus or spyware in it. Now, Microsoft says in every version that they've made it more and more secure, and they do come out with Outlook security updates almost on a monthly basis to catch some of the new email tricks out there. And that's one of the reasons why we say you want to turn it off, because there are constantly email tricks to get those infections to happen, and Microsoft is constantly fixing them. So it's not perfect, unfortunately. So it is worth the extra 1 second it takes to double-click an email before you read it. So we're going to turn our reading pane off from the File menu under View and then Reading pane. So when I started talking about new features in Outlook 2007, the first I mentioned was the to-do bar. And you can see this item over here on the right-hand side. You see it's got one little tiny appointment and then one little task with no details. By default, the to-do bar is going to be expanded, and that's how I use it. I think that the to-do bar is a very, very useful tool because you can see here I don't have to click somewhere else to view my most closest coming appointments and my tasks. And those tasks, it does categorize out for today, tomorrow, this week, and then older if I've got tasks that can wait. You'll also notice that some of these appointments are showing in different colors. These are known as categories. Now, categories have been in Outlook for a long, long time. It's just not used very often. You'll notice also that in my email, I've got views for categories as well. So what I'll do is I'll just simply click on this category heading on one of my emails, and I'll show you what options you've really got. You can make lots of different categories. It's basically just color coding things to remember what it is. I've made lots of categories here to show that, well, you can have lots and lots of categories. I personally only use about 3 or 4 or 5, and those are for normal appointments. I'll just leave as default, and that's business. My webinars and conferences and things like that, I'll make it green, and I just do that for myself, just because I know I'm going to have to do a little bit of prep before these things, so I don't want to schedule things right up against them. My private appointments I made dark blue, so I know those aren't work related. My tentative appointments, I've made a purplish color. Um, for audits and things that are going to need to be followed up on and have more time scheduled aside from the one, I make a dark red. So I'll show you real quick before we actually get into all the calendar stuff uh, how a calendar can look when it's fully categorized. You can see here, just by looking at the day, obviously, wow, I'm pretty busy, but it's going to be a lot easier for me to have a handle on my schedule just by taking a quick glance at the colors because, I can see, well, I've got these, in some internal meetings that are on this green section, so I know I'm going to be at the office for these. So then I can, plan my appointments after that appropriately. And again, you can do the same things with tasks as well. So emails, calendar appointments, tasks, you can categorize, and even contacts you can categorize. So that covers calendars in the to-do bar. Again, you see the tasks below. Um, Tasks are just that. They're things right from the task list in Outlook. But also, the to-do bar will show tasks as items that you flagged or emails that you flagged. That's one of the things that I do very often just to make sure that I don't miss something. Is if I really need to do something on an email later, I will. You can do this again from the email, but quickest I think if you right-click. Go to follow up, and then you've got the different days. You can quick set a date. You can go to custom to set a custom task there. So what I'll do is I will mark this one for follow up, and you'll see that this is now added in as a task. If I double click it, it's just opening up the email, just as it would if I double click the task here or the email here. You can also quick add new tasks right from the to-do bar, and I'll make our webinar test. And there it is. Now, that doesn't give us any details, but what that does is just a way to quickly jot things down so you don't forget them. I might do this when I'm on the phone 3, 4, 5 times talking to a customer just for different things that they want to make sure that I get done for them because I don't want to forget anything that I'm asked to do. So I'll enter a bunch of tasks this way. Then after that phone call, I'll go into each task and then I can insert more detail. But this is a quick reminder, and I think it's personally more effective than jotting things down on a sticky note. I've come from there, and it worked well for me, except for the fact that it's kind of embarrassing having 40 or 50 sticky notes all over your desk. Another new powerful feature in the new Outlook is this thing up here. And I've had some people say, well, what do you mean? You've been able to search in Outlook for a long, long time. And yes, you have, but in Outlook 2007, it's a little different. It's now called Instant Search instead of Search. And I'll actually show you this by going back to my Send Items folder and show you how quick I can pull things up. In previous versions of Outlook, it would search as soon as you're done typing for what you want. And it takes a while because it's searching after you're done typing. The new Instant Search, it's actually constantly building a search database in the background or building an index. It's similar to the way the email servers and database servers work. They scan your computer real time, so whenever you get a new email, that email is already being scanned just to be built on the search database. So you can see here how quickly I can look for something. If I want to search for an email about spam, it takes a second or 2 or 3, but then it may say, well, it's not quite instant. No, it's not instant, but I did just search through about 40,000 emails. So you can see it is pretty quick. You can add a lot of content to these searches by hitting the double down arrow, and this will narrow it down by user. So if I want to show things from, let's say, Brett. Okay, I got nothing in there from Brett about spam, so luckily he's not spamming me. You can show things just with attachments, just by choosing a yes or no. And you see pretty quick you can change any of these criteria, and it automatically searches again for you. Also a nice feature, you don't have to tell it to search every single time. I did this in my Send items, but you do also have the option to search from all Outlook items too. Just know that after you initially install Outlook 2007 or upgrade to it, the search database isn't going to be completed and ready. So if you do a search, and under your search you get a little red item right up here